Shalom, Israel. It's your boy New Breed. That's to the world over. Coming through with another video. For those who may catch this replay later on, you are viewing a live stream. I'm going to give YouTube its time to load up the algorithms and send out the notifications. In this particular video, we're going to be discussing gang stalking from a spiritual vantage point in order to gain a true understanding of gang stalking. Who we got up in here? Welcome. We got Cleopatra Wilson in the house. What's going on? Yep. We got Salabort 3. Good evening, family. What's good? This video is going to really dive in. What up? Got Chris Plato in the house. Marilyn Crow. Shane Bernard. Hey, I'm glad you made it. Shane. Lisa Marie. Thank you. All right, so we're going to really dive in on this one. As you come into this live stream, make sure you hit the thumbs up. It pretty much drives traffic and allows people to get the notifications. Because I know a lot of people haven't been getting them. And I want everybody to be able to catch this because we're going to really dive into some stuff. I mean, we're really going to break down the metaphysics of this gang stalking thing, man. When you look at it, I see a lot of different things going around on YouTube and various other social media sites where brothers and sisters are being targeted, being gang stalked. Now, before I put the cart before the horse, for those who are not familiar with the terms that I may be using, such as gang stalking, I'm basically speaking about mobbing. This happens on a governmental level with various groups. It includes mobbing, and I'm talking internet mobbing, workplace mobbing, neighborhood mobbing. And this tends to happen for various reasons. Some of these perpetrators choose their marks based on social status. Some of these perps choose their marks based on people's religious or cultural differences. There's also a bloodline factor that contributes to gang stalking as well. But one huge reason why a lot of brothers and sisters have been targeted and been mobbed and harassed and stalked, followed through public places, is basically because of the same gift of the internet, which is a double-edged sword. A lot of brothers and sisters have spoke truth. And the reason why truth causes one to be targeted in this day and age is because you're living in a world full of lies. You're living in a world full of deceit. And the whole theory of it is that mankind fears what they don't understand. And since that's the case, since you're set apart or different, or you choose to live your life, I would say, more righteously than most, you don't deem certain activities as acceptable as the rest of society. What tends to happen is people on the outside looking in target that individual. Mankind fears what they don't understand. But it's even a deeper level to it. Now, when we look at it, when we really examine the metaphysics of this, it's deeper than just psychology and human behavior. It's a spiritual attribute that plays a role in all of this. And in this video, we're going to really discuss what that is. If you go to Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12, it says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Against spiritual wickedness in high places. A lot of these perpetrators that's involved in gang stalkers are practicing witchcraft, sorcery. They operate in secrecy. They attend Freemason lodges. They do certain rituals against these very elect people. And we're battling against rulers of darkness. And notice the scripture says rulers of darkness. Those are people on high levels. Those are people in city council. Those are high ranking politics within cities. Those are people who are really acclimated to the satanic system, and really they have a database on certain people. And look, the internet gives them a lot of help. The internet gives them a lot of help. A lot of people have become victims of mobbing after saying certain things on the internet, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, various other social media sites, public information. So the internet could be a double-edged sword, because in one breath, videos can be helping, or comments can be helping the next person, but it can also be a danger. That's if you look at it from a physical level, it can be a danger. But since we know that we're battling against spirits and darkness, just like they have demonic spirits, we got angelic forces that protect us. Now, when you dive deep into it and you really understand the metaphysics, you'll understand that the Most High is in control of everything. And it becomes a battle of oneself. Now, I'm going to explain exactly what I said very shortly and really give understanding of that. But first off, I want you all to really examine some of the videos that you see around of brothers and sisters who are looking at this from a fleshly level, looking at it from a more carnal level than a spiritual level. It creates individuals who become high-wired, paranoid. They have friction. I've literally have seen brothers on videos screaming about gang stalkers when it's just ladies putting groceries in their car, when it's just families riding down the street. Because although that person may be targeted, that person may have seen certain things and been through certain things, they have failed to look at it from a spiritual aspect, that the people who have targeted them are demon possessed. So since that's the case, they become paranoid. There's a difference between a gang stalking program, and someone being paranoid. I've seen it online, and I'm gonna tell you, in the near future, the powers that be will use that against those very elect people. Because if you're going around recording random people, if you're recording random people, calling them gang stalkers, in actuality, you're the gang stalker. Because you're recording random people walking down the street. These people may not even not know who you are. So you're the one watching them. And that will be used. So this video is to basically acclimate us all to look at this from a spiritual aspect, so we do not drive ourselves crazy, and understand the Most High is in control of all this. Now let's talk about it. In Colossians chapter 1, verse 16, it reads, "For by him all things were created that are in heaven and on the earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions, or principalities or powers. All things were created through him and for him." See, The Most High created everything, ladies and gentlemen. So anytime something on the outside is being used against you, it is nothing more than a test. One thing I can say is since I've been through the program that I've been through, my self-esteem has went up. My confidence and faith in the Most High has went up. He's critiqued my character. He's put me through persecutions. He allowed those outside forces to come in to curve my character. So it didn't become a thing where I was blaming the outside force, or I was paranoid or nervous or fearful of an outside force watching me. It then became, Lord, I know what this is. I must have more faith in the Most High, that he's in control, that he created the light, the dark, the visible, the invisible. See, what it done is it put more faith in the Most High. Absolutely. Bill Gates says he's putting us through that fire to refine us as fine silver and gold. That's absolutely what gang stalking is. That's the metaphysics of it. That's the metaphysics of it. And I remember when my program first began. Well, the program that I went through in this particular state I live in, I remember when it first began, I wanted to handle it physically. I wanted to handle my programming physically. I knew the root of it. I know what started it, and it wasn't something I said online. In fact, it was me making an enemy with a neighbor that happened to be a Freemason. And once I made an enemy with a Freemason, noise campaigns started all through the neighborhood. Noise campaigns started. The breaking in my car started. Followed through stores started. Followed on the freeway. It all started right when I made an enemy with a Freemason. And you know what? I wanted to handle it. I wanted to handle it physically. I knew who was responsible. So I wanted to really I wanted to break the dude's nose. Let's just, let me be flat out with it. I wanted to deal with it physically. And then I understood what it was. I understood that this was a spiritual battle. All of the scriptures that we read growing up that were watered down through Christian dogma begin to make way more sense. Begin to make way more sense, because when you dig through these verses and you look at what persecution is about, what the saints went through, what the Messiah went through, you'll see that these programs, that this gang stalking is ancient. This has been going on since the biblical days. This is ancient. When you look at the wisdom of Solomon and the Apocrypha, you'll find out that they have programs. And that would just translate in modern day times as COINTELPRO, CIA, FBI. But back then they had the Romans. They had different organizations back then. They had the scribes. They had the pharisaical unions. They had governments. They had agencies. And they were watching the prophets. They were seeking to diminish their character, to destroy them, to stop the truth from getting out. So we got to look at this for what it is. And when you go to the scriptures, and you go to 1 Peter's chapter 4, it reads, "Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange things happen unto you." So when you get tried and these trials face you, you shouldn't even think of it as strange. I notice a lot of brothers and sisters look at it like it's a strange occurrence. They're confused by the fact that someone flattened their tires, that someone's watching them, that someone is following them. The scriptures say, hey, think it not strange when these trials try you. And then it says, although some things happen unto you, rejoice as ye are partakers of Christ's sufferings, that when his glory shall reveal, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy. If ye be reproached for the name of Christ, happy are ye. For the spirit of the glory of God resteth upon you. On their part he is evil spoken of, but on your part he is glorified. So, on the contrary, when you know something is going on, that you're being stalked, neighborhood mobbed, harassed, slandered, lied on, targeted, when you know these things are happening, you're not supposed to be confused by it. You're not supposed to look at this thing as being strange. You're supposed to actually rejoice in the fact that you're going through these trials because you're standing in righteousness. That's the true metaphysics of gang stalking. It's not for us to glorify or grandize what these agencies are doing, because these agencies are not responsible. They're not in complete control. The Most High is in control of your life. The Most High sends things your direction as a testament to your faith and to curve and critique your character. That's what gang stalking is. Now let's see what the people got to say. Bakarazu says, yeah, and we're on trial of humiliation, of fire trial, of job. I think I understand what you're saying. Yeah. They got humiliation tactics. It's a fire trial. It's something that we deal with. And what the scriptures tell us to do is rejoice. Rejoice in that. Absolutely. All right. God hates a Chris Smith said God hates a coward. Stand strong, give glory. Absolutely. That's what we are to do. Let's see what else we got. Shalom Benjamin says, I know Christ was a strong black man for black Hebrew people. Absolutely. The scriptures tell us that in the book of Revelations. All right. Absolutely. So, bottom line is, the metaphysics of gang stalking is a spiritual. What manifests in the spiritual realm then comes into the physical realm. So, when it boils down to it, what we're dealing with is trials based on our belief, based on our faith. Lyrical Light says, I was getting gang stalked, but I kept my trust in the Most High. Prayed hard, kept my joy, and would recite scripture out loud, and they would flee every time. Absolutely. That right there is excellent. That's a great testimony. That's what I like to hear from TIs. That's how you deal with this correctly. You don't grandize the situation. You don't get trapped in what's happening. You don't react emotionally. You literally deal with this in a spiritual realm. And that's the bottom line when it comes down to it. When you have a spiritual vantage point on what you're dealing with, it can be easily dealt with. And these the kind of videos that the powers that be really don't want. Like, they rather would have people walking down the street acting paranoid, saying that somebody's chasing me, ladies putting groceries in the car. Hey, look at this gang stalker and all of that. That's just total garbage. And I'm just being honest with you. And at the end of the day, those are the people that they want to put in mental institutions. They use everything against you. It's a trap. Those are the people they want in St. Eve's. Although those people may be targeted, those people may be going through the trials and tribulations. But it's a way to deal with in things within wisdom. If you're in this live stream, make sure you hit that thumbs up so we could drive some traffic, especially if you are getting edification from this stream. And there's some more things I want to build on. Angel Nowhere says, I think it's just a persecution of blacks because I'm a sinner living a sinful life by smoking cigs and weed. I know I'm not perfect, but I want my heart. I yearn to follow Christ or Jesus. So why am I targeted? Why do you feel as if you're being targeted? That's the question I would have for you, and then I can answer that. Bill Gates says, I encourage you to learn and expose the enemy's territory, expand on the marine kingdom. These spirits are in full-blown operation and are the strongest weapon. The users along with our stubbornness. Absolutely. Lion Selah says, is gang stalking more than physical? Absolutely. That's what this particular chat is about. That's what this live stream is about. We're talking about looking at this from a spiritual vantage point in order to not only survive gang stalking, but to overcome gang stalking. I see somebody says, Jordan Dantra says it's not a black thing. Well, when it comes to gang stalking, there are various people who are end up targets. And it's various reasons why. It's so many reasons why. You got some people who are just simply whistleblowers. No matter what race, nationality, color, or creed they are, you got people who are CDC whistleblowers. You got people who are from all sorts of ethnic backgrounds. It's so many reasons why one can be targeted that I couldn't even possibly list them all. But one of the main reasons is just for those who expose the truth in a deceitful world full of lies. That's one big thing. Especially if you're one who critically analyzes society. And I do mean critically. If you're one who critically analyzes society and not afraid to speak about it, oh, you'll be on that list. If you're one who lives in a small town, if you're one who lives in a small town and you are just living differently, those demons, because that's what it is, if you're looking at this from a spiritual vantage point, even before you start doing the right thing and you start searching for truth, when you start searching for light, those demons already know where you headed, so they're going to be on attack. So there are also demon possessed people who organize this mobbing as well. So it's not just, and then it's also people who are born through a royal bloodline. There's also people whose blood has been found by lobotomists. It could be an average checkup. They keep the blood, ladies and gentlemen. They keep the blood in these hospitals. They study the blood. They know who come from royal families. They know who come from royal bloodlines. They know they know the people who come through King David, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. And those same people are targeted. So race does contribute into who's gang stalked, but that's just one thing. That's one part of it. So you got people gang stalk for various reasons. I just thought I'd put that out there. All right. New breed, do you think gang stalking can be demonic harassment without a person? Asked by Daughter of God. Well, they operate in sorcery, witchcraft, black magic. They do things like put bodily fluids around your home in the middle of the night. They try to cast spells and they do all sorts of things regarding spiritual darkness. But the thing about those kind of practices is that you have to open the door for it. So they can do it, but it's non and void. As long as you're not opening your household for demonic presences to enter and they don't have an access point, it's non and void. So yes, they do operate in black magic, sorcery, witchcraft, all kind of demonic practices to try to hit you with these invisible forces. They absolutely do. Angel Nowhere says, I'm definitely not afraid to speak out and do. I've been this way my entire life though. But 2016, gang stalking started. And the ironic part of it all is the same thing that got you targeted, the same thing that got you gang stalked, is the same thing that's going to make you free because the Most High is going to protect you for continuing on the right path. So that's one of those things where you just got to steadfast. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, they do all kind of satanic rituals. That's just a part of it. And you got people, and as the scriptures say, spiritual principalities, wickedness in high places. When it says wickedness in high places, it's talking about literally high members of society, city council, governors, politicians, head of police, chief of police, judges, doctors. We're talking about high members of society doing high rituals, high black magic, and really operating on darkness against the elect. Absolutely, Cheryl Scott, even pastors are dabbling in this sorcery. And it's so bad, sometimes the invisible forces that they actually send your direction can be worse than having people watching you, stalking you. Because the spiritual forces tend to make people lose their mind. They operate in psychosis. Those are the people who are labeled paranoid schizophrenic. Those people aren't paranoid and schizophrenic. Those people are demon possessed because some kind of spirit latched onto them. It could have been through somebody's sorcery or a door or portal that they open up. So when you're looking at this from a spiritual vantage point, all of the things in the movies, ladies and gentlemen, Hollywood tells you the truth. All of the things in the movies about spirits, the spiritual realm, demons, angels, possession, mental health, all this stuff is real. The truth is stranger than fiction. See, ladies and gentlemen, we think that we got to stop thinking on a fleshly level. Yes, we live in a physical realm. We are terrestrial beings, but there are things in the invisible realm going on around you like all the time. You're never alone. You may be in a room by yourself and there's forces operating all around you. Sometimes these forces come in the form of thoughts, ideas. It could be an angelic force whispering in your ear something that you need to know, and you get that impulse to do something that's going to protect yourself. It's things happening. This is not just, these agencies are doing this and doing that. Because let me tell you, through my experience of being targeted and gang stalked, I've seen the Most High do some miraculous things during this program to the point where I know this is spiritual. Like, if it wasn't spiritual, what would stop my enemies who have all these resources, who have all this military power, who have all of these things? What would stop them from just blowing our heads off, from taking us out all at once? They don't have the permission. So you got to put the power in the hands of the Most High. New breed, are you still targeted? Absolutely. As long as I'm breathing and speaking truth, I'll be an enemy of someone. And that's one thing you all got to know. Freedom of speech ain't free. The truth come with a consequence. And as long as you living and you haven't sold your soul, you're gonna have enemies. Point blank, period. It's no way around that. You're gonna have adversaries. There's no way around it. Narc Survivor says, what kind of target do you experience? I experience a lot of cyber, I would say cyber mobbing, especially having a YouTube channel. It's certain things that I go through that I don't really would like to speak on for a few reasons. Sometimes I don't like to give. Let me deal with this wisely because I want to answer your question. I don't like to give my enemies the pleasure, if that makes any sense. I don't like to give my adversaries the pleasure of knowing what I know, exactly what they do. You understand? I hope that makes sense to you, because they get off on it. If they're doing something in your life, it could be something small, right? I've seen brothers get their vehicles damaged. I've seen people get scrapes on their car. I've seen people, get their tires flat. And when they speak about it, they love it. I mean, they love it. They're laughing about it. They enjoy causing you pain. They don't like when they can't see you sweat. These gang stalkers, they're the lowest of the low people. That's what you got to understand. They're like trolls. They're literally like trolls. That's why a lot of times on these videos I call them human trolls. Because if you sit there and ignore a troll online, right? You just ignore that troll. Eventually they just stop trolling. They're not getting the pleasure of what they're doing. It's just irrelevant. You're not giving them the pleasure of trolling you. Sometimes when people troll me, I laugh. I think it's funny. Absolutely. BP Parker, demons in meat suits. So that's what it is with this programming. It has to come a time when we look at this from a spiritual vantage point and not continue to think that we're battling against flesh and blood, because it'll drive you insane watching different people walking down the street, flipping your phone like that. It makes no sense. Makes no sense. But I'd like to thank y'all for catching this live stream. Make sure you all hit that thumbs up to make sure the video spreads, because this type of videos need to go out. If you all would like to hear some of the music that I put out, It's on SoundCloud.com at I Am New Breed, IAMNUBREED. And continue to show your support. I'd like to thank y'all. Make sure you guys turn all your notifications on. Turn all your notifications on. Go ahead and hit that bell and everything. Because y'all going to be getting way more videos, way more frequent. And it's going to be a lot of powerful lessons, teachings, dialect happening on this channel. And I'm going to be featured with other brothers and sisters alike. And we're going to keep on doing this thing, promoting awareness and getting this truth out there. Thank y'all, family. Shalom and peace.